So, maybe this is going to be a little bit of a relaxed fit episode because, I mean, we're going to recap Corey Sandhagen versus Rob Font, which I'll still maintain that I only watched like part of the last round. I didn't really watch that fight. I had it on.
I watched it.
Couldn't bring myself to watch it. But I will preface everything by saying, or I'll let the listeners know right now, I'm coming to defend Corey Sandhagen.
Yes, absolutely. That took an insane amount of skill, boys. Like, that was crazy for me watching that because it's like I don't like watching this, but that is extremely hard to do what he's doing right now.
Yeah, I have too much respect for Corey Sandhagen to want to punish him after that performance. Now, neither Brandon nor myself are here to tell anybody that was an entertaining fight that like anybody should ever rewatch or that anybody should even go back and watch if you didn't watch it. No, that it was not. It was a pretty bad main event. And I will say, like, for people who paid money to be in the building, because UFC tickets are expensive. So I was shitting on I was shitting on the Nashville fans. We were both shitting on them pretty good for booing, but I get it. I get it. If you're in the house and you're like, "Oh my God, we waited all night for this," because
Well, plus they say Nashville's like the place that like fat chicks go to have their bachelorette parties or whatever. So it's just like a bunch of like tour buses of like chicks doing bachelorette parties and like just yelling and shit. So it's like those type of people.
It was.
I remember they did the NFL draft there once, and I was watching it, and I was just like, "Dang, fucking loudmouth weirdos and shit!" Like I couldn't even be there, but
I mean, it was probably the thing to do on that Saturday or this past weekend in Nashville. Like, what the fuck else is there to do in Nashville, right? Gonna go listen, watch people play music again.
Yeah, it's a lot of like niche. You drink out of mason jars at weddings, people there. And it's like
with twine wrapped around the mason jars and
and then a lot of them wear like the same type of hat, but it's like a different color of coffee with like a bird on it or whatever. Like weird fucking like people that dress like Cam Newton.
We're just trying so hard to offend anybody from Nashville. I've never been to Nashville. I'm sure it's great, but fuck Nashville.
I don't give a fuck. It's a bunch of like dudes that do country rap and shit. Like that's where they're at now. Like the dudes that did a decent. I guarantee there's country rap jams there. Like you can find a place where it's like two country rap acts and like a shitty stand-up comedian.
They definitely still wear the button-down shirts with the wings on the back in Nashville.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
The boot jeans cut with the fucking Saints logo on the back and the back pockets.
The skull burned into the Japanese denim.
Yeah,
the skull fucking not skull like dip.
We're just writing our own fucking reality of what's happening in Nashville.
Yeah.
I think Riddell's been to Nashville. He's like, oh,
he would.
I heard the hot chicken. I was like, yeah, of course he would. You fucking tourist. I want to go to Nashville. I want to go to Nashville and not have the hot chicken at all. I want to go to Philadelphia. I want to go. No, he did. I want to go to I want to go to Philadelphia and not have a fucking cheesesteak and not trying to have none of that shit.
You know what?
Fuck you.
I don't give a
Chicago,
fuck.
keep your goddamn pizza away from me.
Philadelphia, fuck you. Everybody there, they have no idea. They're fucking weirdos, dude. Philadelphia's weird. Have you seen Kensington Avenue in Philadelphia?
No.
Dude, look it up on your own time. Someone's listening to this.
Why not now? Why not
Kensington?
now?
Look at video of Kensington Avenue, dude.
Okay, not a video, but
okay, yeah, but like
I just meant I'm not going to look up.
It's the worst place on the planet.
Well, let's see.
Let's
see how it stacks up to North Korea. Let's see.
Charles Oliveira's like people from Charles Oliveira's neighborhood would like walk away like, okay, guys, go.
go. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, this is like this is their Skid Row. I'm seeing armed soldiers walking down the streets of Kensington.
They couldn't like if they put this in like The Wire or whatever. It'd be like, this is too much. This isn't real. This is fake.
there's pictures here of the amount of trash on the street and the sidewalks, and you could see more trash than than pavement.
Yeah.
By God.
And it's people that are just dead on fentanyl, like dead behind the eyes on fentanyl and fucking methadone. And just like open, it's crazy. Philadelphia is gross. I would never go.
No.
Never. Fuck you.
All right. Poor Corey Sandhagen. We were just trying everything to not have to talk about this fight.
Yeah.
But let's get to it. Corey Sandhagen, for anybody who doesn't know what the result of this fight was, he earns a 5-round unanimous decision to top off a card that was full of decisions, quite a few. There's a lot of back-to-back decisions on this card. But, the performances that stood out for a reason. And Corey Sandhagen's wasn't one of them. But it was a very high-level bantamweight matchup that was taking place at the catch weight of 140 pounds, like we mentioned on the breakdown episode. Dude, I'll say this. I could not have anticipated that this fight would be as bad as it was. I'm kind of like pre-programmed already to think like, oh, ranked bantamweights, just banger. Like, it seems like so out of left field that they would underperform that bad. I mean, I guess I should eat my words right off the bat because, I mean, we've already seen stuff like Aldo versus Merab. So, I mean, the possibility is certainly there. But, I mean, Corey Sandhagen has, and I think it's what annoys me so much about the fan reaction to this fight, because Corey Sandhagen has already put in so many great performances and so many entertaining performances with finishes. I mean, let me pull up his record to go over his past few wins. Oh man, my internet is just fucking pathetic, dude. Verizon, do better. You sold me on some bullshit. My internet speeds that I was bragging about the last few times we podcasted, it's gotten to the point where those speeds are only attainable like in the middle of the night when it's fucking worthless to me. Like between the hours of like 6 and 10, it fucking creeps down to like slower than what my previous internet was, and it's almost useless to me. But anyways, back to what I was saying. Corey Sandhagen has been must-see TV for a little while now. Even in his losses, he's been really entertaining, and somebody that a lot of people have had pegged for a guy who's going to be a contender or a perennial contender at this bantamweight division, and yet he has his least entertaining fight, but most dominant performance, arguably, this past weekend against Rob Font, and now nobody wants him to have anything to do with the title picture, and it's just so fucked up. I feel so bad for him, dude.
Yeah, in the moment too, and I can say this as like a Stan guy. In the moment when we were talking about it, we were like commenting to each other. I was like, well, think about it. And so this is like where my Stan mind goes, and like straight fanboy goes, is to like, okay, best case scenario, he's not hurt. He took it on late replacement. It's just a win. We're not going to remember. It was a fight night Nashville. Who cares? It's just going to be a blip like, oh, he did beat Rob Font by unanimous decision. Wow, okay, cool. Five rounds. You won't remember it. Like, what's a fight you would think of like, maybe not like the champs, but like, I'm sure Kamaru Usman has a lot of fights like that, dude. And he's considered the best fucking in his division, maybe of all time in his division, like right there with St. Pierre, right? I guarantee you, we can like go back in the Wayback Machine, and Usman has a fucking fight like that. A lot of guys have a fight like that.
Oh, his fights with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, they're horrible.
Yeah.
They're horrible to watch. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and I mean, that's also one of those deals where it's like, who do you blame for that? I guess I was about to make a point, comparing those fights and be a little hypocritical, because I did blame Kamaru for those fights being boring because he's the more dominant fighter in that scenario. And I mean, he also had a pretty oh no, that was Tyron Woodley and Demian Maia. That was also one of those like, what are you doing? Like, this guy's no danger to you, just finish him. And in this situation, I kind of put more of the blame on Rob Font, and I'm realizing like, no, I guess it should be a
Yeah,
pretty
oh yeah.
equal
But
level
he's a
of the blame.
professional MMA fighter. He did not look like he that you would see, but that's the thing though. Does the skill level go so far to Corey's favor? Like overall skill, maybe
Mm-hmm.
not striking skill, that it's pretty even or close to even. But that grappling skill is tilted so far. And we've talked about that about Corey Sandhagen, where he's like the new version of what UFC is going to be, or at least MMA is going to be, was where the kids come in training MMA. They don't come in jiu-jitsu. They don't come in wrestle boxers.
Mm-hmm.
They don't, they're like full MMA package from Muay Thai to boxing to all the way. And Corey just goes, I have to wrestle now. So, and that's
Corey's,
good to do that. Yeah,
yeah,
in this, you're compromised. That shit looked gnarly. His fucking tricep looked gnarly as fuck. So it's like, who knows
yeah.
how hard that shit, that shit
I
must hurt.
I had Rob Font pegged for being a better defensive wrestler than this. And
Yeah,
now
absolutely.
I don't know what to think, because it's like
Yeah,
the takedowns came so easy for Corey Sandhagen. Like, I mean, it has to be both an indictment on Rob
and
Font's defensive
after the
wrestling.
14th takedown, you should have known he's gonna go for 17.
Yeah,
He's gonna go for 19. You
yeah.
should know he's gonna go for that many.
And it's tough because as you get further into the fight, and especially in a 5 rounder, and you're down that bad, because there's always the idea, like the possibility that in a 3 rounder, going into that third round, the fighter who's down could convince themselves that, well, maybe the judges will see it my way on one of those rounds, and they'll think they just have to win the third round by decision, on the scorecards. But in this situation, if you're going into the fourth and the fifth round, and if you're Rob Font and you want to get more aggressive, and you have to chase the
Mhm.
finish, it's going to present more openings for Corey Sandhagen to get those takedowns. The
Absolutely.
more aggressive you are, I think ultimately the thing that this fight makes me think of is like, now I really wish that we would have been able to get the Corey Sandhagen versus Umar Nurmagomedov fight. Maybe that wouldn't have been a good thing, because perhaps we would have seen Corey get kind of like rolled over, considering how bad his arm was. But like, now there's no question in my mind that like Corey Sandhagen was being an absolute student of the game, and he was like, okay, this is my opponent's strength, I'm going to train for that exclusively. And he was ready for the scrambles, and he was ready to for a grueling fucking ground battle with Umar. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing it didn't happen, because to go
Yeah.
into a fight with Umar with a busted arm like he did with Rob Font, maybe it doesn't
But
go
he
his
did it
way.
in the first, right? He didn't go into it. So, I
Oh yeah,
mean,
no, yeah,
it's like
yeah.
butterfly effect. Would it really even happen if
Good
he
point.
goes into? Yeah, I think he elbows the fuck out of Umar though. I was like expecting an elbow fest if it
Hmm.
was like just in my head. That's what I saw when I heard that matchup even take place. I was like,
Mm.
that's from the bottom elbows. That's on top scramble elbows because Umar's gonna be right up in that guy's armpit.
Yeah,
So that's what I was thinking the whole time, and that's what I was. But that's off track because that fight didn't even happen. But I would still like to see Umar Magomedov and Corey Sandhagen fight though.
yeah, same. Let's but yeah, as of right now, Corey Sandhagen probably, given the reaction of the UFC brass and the fans. I mean, Dana White literally walking out of the building in the middle of the fight. He's probably not up for a title shot after the
No,
results of Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley, which I think is a shame. I do think he's definitely earned a title shot.
yeah,
But yeah,
because it's not like he's gonna do that again. That he needs to. I think Dana needs to be careful with that kind of shit. And who am I to tell Dana White, billionaire, fucking getting his ass in court right now? So good thing he has all that money. But there's been a lot of those lawsuits coming up. Like I've been getting them. Like, have you been AT&T customer from this time to this time? Did you have Facebook from this time to this time? You may be in for a settlement. Like, there's a ton of those shit. And then
oh
I saw
yeah,
UFC go, damn, even the UFC's in on that shit. What the fuck? But that's
yeah,
neither here nor there. But
yeah.
I'm saying like
We're nothing if not litigious.
like I wonder what Corey's contract would be like, because he would be a reigning in he would kick the shit out of everybody in PFL. He would like it would be weird. He would break their smart cage with like throwing dudes against the fence and like slamming dudes around. Bellator don't make me fucking laugh. He'd be one championship's good around his weight class, but like he would just kick the shit out of everybody and all these other things. And he can go get a crazy bag. It's been proven like that it's there.
I think yeah.
And he's fucking exciting. All his fights, he had one. He was fucked up. Francis, I guess whatever happened with Lewis happened, but we're gonna get to see the fallout from that on a different promotion probably.
Yeah.
What if you do that shit to Corey Sandhagen, who's like giving his fucking bones and blood for this fucking organization, and he should be getting, I guarantee you he's not getting paid enough for as fucking sick as he is.
No.
And he's not getting paid enough. You want to walk out? Okay. Get the fuck out of here.
Go. Absolutely.
Because it's such a female, that's such a girl brain thing to do. You're a fucking CEO of a company, dude. Sit there and do it.
Yeah. I think, Dana just feeds too much off of just the immediate reaction of fans who want to see him kind of be like the judge, jury, and executioner.
Do you think he goes, if this keeps going on after, he's like in the third, when do I walk out? Like just girl brained out. When do I walk out? When do I walk out? And then like he instantly goes to Twitter. Did anybody notice and tweet about me leaving? Like he probably does shit like
absolutely.
That.
Because here's the thing, like there's no way. I mean, okay, I shouldn't say there's no way, but I think it's unlikely that he's sitting there and it's like, oh, there's just something that I need to go do at this moment. Like I need to walk away for this reason. No, like it's
passive aggressive.
It's very clearly for people are going to notice me get up and walk away. This is my way of communicating my discontent about this fight because it's nothing else. You were there for a reason. Your plan was your plan was to be sitting cage side and watching these fights and being present and promoting your fights, and for you to get up and walk away, like I'm pretty sure it's rare.
It proves. And I don't think it has. I think he's to the point. He's so entitled. He's so self-aware that he thinks that, and I guess he could be right. It's a problem that like I think our country has as a whole. It's like you're just taking it for granted that like because it's making his own product look bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if the chef served you food at your restaurant, and then like, oh, that plate is shitty, and he walks out all mad because like they didn't serve it the right way or whatever. Are you going to go back to that restaurant? No. It's such a weird thing. It's like, dude, at the end of the day, it's still a business.
It's the Gordon Ramsification of everything.
People,
people aren't watching like that. What was it, Kitchen Nightmares? Like they're not watching. They were never watching that to be like, oh, I really hope that this chef or they pull it through and improve their kitchen. Like they're watching to see somebody tear into people, you know. And I guess I think it's not exactly that 1-to-1, but it's a little bit of that energy.
That's such a good like way to put it, like the Gordon Ramsification of it. Like it's a mini reality show, like the daily things. And it was like, well, it was so unentertaining. I'm going to become part of the show. And it's like, dude, you're not Vince McMahon, dude. And like, is this the Vince McMahon thing now? Because they're together, right? It's like the same, under the same umbrella. Is this Vince McMahon shit? Like to walk out?
Yeah, those worlds are slowly but surely going to start merging more than we're probably like ready to admit. I mean, just this past weekend during their pay-per-view, I don't know what SummerSlam, I think it was. Ronda Rousey was involved in MMA.
She looked like she got knocked the shit out. That was real, right? She looked like she got like.
No,
what was that?
Of course, it wasn't.
That
real.
wasn't real at all.
No, I mean,
I just saw a clip though, and I was like, "Damn, she's a good actress." Does that look like?
Yeah, she sold it well. But no, I mean, there's no way. The reason it can't be real, even though they put the whole idea like, oh, this is an MMA rules, is because it's an MMA rules match. You got to have a real MMA ref, because that's why I was commenting in our group chat. I love that the ref was still chewing up the scenery and doing the pro wrestling stuff, where it's like, okay, you check Ronda Rousey's arm to see that she's out, she's completely out, but instead of like telling the other girl let
Yeah.
go, you're gonna go motion to someone cage side like call it off,
Yeah.
call it off.
Yeah. Good point. I remember you said that. That's hilarious, dude.
Oh man.
Wow.
I mean, shout out to them for doing their thing, though. I would love to be an pro wrestling ref. That looks like it's the funnest job in the whole shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of women, there was a pretty cool co-main event to this UFC fight night. Tatiana Suarez returns, gets the win over Jessica Andrade by second round guillotine choke. And man, Jessica Andrade. Now she's dropped 3 in a row. To all fantastic competition, though. I mean, Erin Blanchfield, Yan Xiaonan, now Tatiana Suarez. So yeah, she's in a rough spot right now, and she's probably going to have to reassess things. I was hearing or saw some posts leading into this fight where Jessica Andrade was saying that her and her coach had decided to take it back to the basics, and they went back to Brazil to train there, and she had made a comment that she didn't feel like she was really able to, or she wasn't able to implement the things that she had been learning more recently into her fights. Yeah. So I took that to mean, I'm going to be Jessica Andrade of old. I'm going to come in and be the marauder that, people know me as and stuff. And I thought that is a horrible plan. she's not growing as a fighter, unfortunately. And she's going to go down as a Hall of Famer for sure. Just for the fact that she's competed at 3 different weight classes and has wins at them, and former champion, former title challenger at flyweight. But Tatiana Suarez, man, she showed up and showed out and showed people that she's been working on her striking. The body kicks were nice. She used her height well.
Whenever I see her in wrestling shoes. Is that weird? Like in my mind's eye, it's like she has wrestling shoes and knee pads. Like wrestling knee pads.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, she's just she looks like she's for the mat. Yeah.
Yeah. But she just has that like wrestler's gait. Like John Fitch used to have that, like the shoulders back, kind of like the gait when just everything they do, the way they walk, the way they just kind of move. They certain people that you just know that they're like that. Like, oh, that's a fucking wrestler.
Yeah. Tatiana calling for the title shot after this win, and it's a big win. She last fought in February of this year, so good to see that she's not suffering or still dealing with injuries, the injuries that kept her out on the shelf for so long. I gotta ask you though, like, given that Yan Xiaonan just pieced up Jessica Andrade recently too.
Right.
Who? I mean, if you watched that fight and if you watched this fight, who, in your opinion, had the more dominant win over Jessica Andrade?
Dang. Yan Xiaonan had the more entertaining win, but I think dominating harder. But I guess you kind of have to like take into account that Xiaonan did kind of play in Andrade's court, or play her game for at least a lot longer than it. But I just said that just seems so hard to do that to someone who is as strong as Andrade's and has, like we've seen, and she was giving up a lot of size, but that was just, I think Suarez's was for me. But that's a very, I guess, biased because I just like that type of fighting. But I think it's harder to do, as weird as that sounds. Like when you see like Max Holloway box people's face off, or what like maybe a lot of people can do with their striking or Muay Thai. I think that's what Suarez is a lot harder to just impose your will on them. Like that's exactly what you do. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
How are you going to react? And you can't.
Do you think that Yan Xiaonan, having done that first and having been more active, do you think she's more deserving of the next title shot after?
I do.
Okay.
I think she'll get it too. Yeah.
I kind of think so too. I think that it's kind of tough, and like I have Tatiana, like many people, pegged as a future champion at strawweight, and it's kind of tough because she'd been out for like almost 4 years, so it's hard to be like,
talked about it.
wait a wait a little longer. It's like,
Yeah.
she's like, I haven't not waited long enough, and she had arguably earned a title shot before her big
Before
injury.
her, yeah, she did.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
but
so.
it's like kind of a
It's not
little bit of
exactly
a.
like men's bantamweight. You know what I mean? Like you could take a couple plays off and still be the star of the game in her division. So,
I mean, who am I to be critical of her wrestling though? A weird criticism that I feel like since she's been back against Montana De La Rosa, and then in this fight too, like I feel like Tatiana's wrestling is so good that she can kind of afford to be sloppy, about it a little bit. Like it doesn't
like a
seem
Gaethje.
a little bit, yeah. But I mean, I guess with not as much emphasis on like wanting to go out there and stand and bang, but like she doesn't she doesn't need to set up her shots perfectly. Her timing doesn't need to be perfect, because as long as she kind of like gets a hold of you, she's gonna be able to get you down, And I kind of, I guess what I'm saying is I really would like to see her fight somebody who's going to force her to be like a really sharp wrestler. Whereas with someone like Jessica Andrade, like with the single leg that she took Jessica down with in this fight, it was it looked very sloppy to my eye. And it looked like dang, like she could afford to be that sloppy. She doesn't need to be perfect because she's so good at wrestling. And like I want to see someone force her to like be perfect, I guess, or to be like, to have that really like good wrestling form. And I kind of feel like Mackenzie Dern might be that opponent.
Yeah,
I want to see that ground
I would love
threat.
to see that.
Yeah. I think that because I still think Yan Chaonan earned her title shot.
I would just want to see Mackenzie Dern try to head and arm throw Titanosaurus, like what that looks like. Try that.
Yeah, dude, that'll be good shit.
What you're saying to me, like, and stop me if this sounds completely ridiculous, but that reminds me. I was thinking about it the other day. Was in the Olympics, like LeBron had to play power forward, which is like basically like the smaller center, like Tim Duncan's position, right? And he's a guard, really. He's like a point forward for when he was playing with Cleveland at the time, or with Miami. So, but he had to play power forward, and he was playing power forward so good, and then he had to go back and. Like sometimes when they would like switch Kobe out or other people out, he would have to go back to his normal position of like a forward general, and it was kind of sloppy, but it was like getting the fucking job done. But he was like so in his head that he was a power forward that he was like in between two minds the whole time. So do you think she's like that, like in between two minds of like trying to be a good striker because this person can literally punch her hand through my head if I don't pay attention?
I think you make a good point there. Yeah. I think so, definitely. And you know what? I wonder if that dichotomy kind of exists a lot in MMA in general, with fighters coming in, kind of having mostly trained in one discipline, in their adolescent years or whatever, and then picking up the rest of the stuff. Because I think in Tatiana's recent interview with Ariel, she said that she usually doesn't really train much wrestling, like and when she's in camp for a fight, she knows, which I like to hear, because it's like, I mean, if you've been wrestling your whole life, like every opportunity you have should be an opportunity to try your hands out and work on your hands.
I would bet too she would be the type of gal or the type of person, and there's a lot of guys like this in MMA that are really good wrestlers, and they help out teammates or they get paid to come spar and give them a wrestling look. So I'm sure she gets enough work doing that she's like, I do this in the off time, so like I should really sharpen my striking in camp.
Yeah, see, it's the ultimate like insurance to have. It's like, and I'd like to say, it sounds fucked up. I'd like to see Tatiana.
Ask Corey Sandhagen how'd that go. Fucking guy, fucking arm came off. He had like a twisted ass mangled arm, and he just went straight to wrestling. Like he had that club. Oh shit, Jesus Christ. God. He had that club in his bag, dude. He could hit that shot. So like, she has like, that's like a driver. Like if you're a golfer, you're good. You're fucking like, I gotta work on my 7-iron. But then you just always have that driver. You can fucking just, you don't have to put a perfect swing, but you make connection. Shit just works.
Yeah, I would really love to see what Tatiana's wrestling looks like too when she gets her clocked clean pretty good. Like
Oh yeah,
if she's in there with an Amanda Lemos or a
yeah,
Zhang Wei
yeah,
Li, and she really gets rocked, like I
yeah.
want to see
It's
what
just
that.
primal instinct, just like
Yeah,
Jean-Claude Van Damme when he's fucking blind in Bloodsport. Just like I remember that.
that's a
When he like
very good
moves the
example.
he like moves the ref to the side. Like that's probably like her.
That's because they
Like
threw sand in his eye, right? His
it was
opponent,
chalk. Yeah,
was it chalk? Yeah.
he had like this crazy ass chalk in his belt loop or whatever the fuck, and he like threw it in his eyes. And he's like, "Ma!" And then he went to punch, and he stopped right before the ref's head, and then like moved him to the side, all perfect, and then
Hell
blocked a
yeah.
kick or whatever. Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, I hope Tatiana's next opponent has some pocket
I
sand ready to go, dude.
being as I've never been in a cage fight, I always think like so. Basically, that's my go-to thing. Like when Alex Pereira was kind of like washed out by Adesanya, or Adesanya was washed out. I was like, oh, he must be feeling like John Claude Van Damme in Bloodsport. Like that's my only reference for being knocked out.
Oh man, hell yeah.
Like as someone who has absolutely no idea how that works.
So yeah, good for Tatiana.
Oh yeah.
She said she's willing to take another fight before the title shot. So we'll see how that pans out. Jessica Andrade probably have to reassess some things, being down 3 now. I don't know that for Jessica. I don't know that this is. I don't feel like she's losing her step necessarily. I think it's a scenario where the game is passing her by.
Yeah.
Because when I see her, yeah, like I'm not like, oh, she doesn't have her fastball anymore. That doesn't really feel like it to me. Kind of feels like the level of everyone else is going up, which I think is good for WMA because we've seen
it's
it.
like Chuck Liddell.
Yeah, because
It
we've
was
seen
like
it.
watching what happened to Chuck Liddell or guys like that, where it's just like that shit doesn't work anymore, dude. Like,
Yeah, there was one instance in there where in the second round where Andrade like almost started to do the little Andrade flurry where she starts to just throw alternating hooks from her waist, and it's like,
Yeah,
God, you can't do that anymore, especially not with a
Yeah.
girl as tall as Tatiana. But yeah. Let's see. That kid. Look at me. I sound like fucking Dana White. Calling him a kid. Diego Lopez fucking showed up and showed out against Gavin Tucker, dude. That was a really good performance.
Yeah, he's sick, dude. He's gonna. We're definitely. That's Fight Plug. Keep an eye on him. Like eye test guy.
Yeah, he showed up and he had his fight with Mavsar Evloev short notice in his previous fight. And I think he won fight of the night. He lost the fight, but everybody was like, dude, for a
Off
guy.
night. Yeah, that's like they call. There's a dude who plays for the Kings. He's not Mitchell. Like it's like whenever he guards the dude, it's like an off night for you. So like he for sure put. Eloev was everyone was just like, man, what's wrong with him? He must have the flu. Like, nah, dude, that guy's fucking wild.
Yeah, no, for sure. Did you watch the Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz boxing match?
I did, unfortunately. I did. Yeah.
So did I. You want to talk about it? What were your thoughts?
Guess.
What are your takeaways?
I watched it. I watched it with my gal had came in late and like was like kind of sat down in the middle of it, and like she's like, what is he doing, like holding on the ring like that? Like remember he got hit and he like just turned his back all the way and like put his hands up on the fucking, and I was like, I don't know. I don't know, that was just weird.
Yeah, try explaining Nick and Nate Diaz's energy. I guess I'll have to call it swagger, but they're like that like fucking homie nonchalantness. It's really hard to put into words, but when you see it though,
it was so, and it's not even so much. Well, Nate was like for what he did to Connor, so he got the rub off of Connor. Because I think if he doesn't have that Connor match, it's not as cool as anyone thinks. He is. He's not. And
I wish I had a fucking soundboard with some kind of thing like it's time for revisionist history with Brandon.
Yeah.
Like, Dad, we're going back that far. Well, first of all, if he didn't get that Connor win.
No, but you get what I'm saying. But you were making a point was my girl was like, who is this guy? Like, this is real? Because I watch a lot of real shit. So
Uh-huh.
she's like, "This looks fake as fuck, dude. What are you watching?" And
Yeah,
she's like,
she.
"Who even? So this is what you watch all the time?"
Uh
Because like she doesn't. She's like, "Oh, you're watching fights. I'm gonna get the fuck away from you."
huh.
She kind of
Yeah.
like walking in, and I'm like, "This one's almost over." She's like, "Okay, I'll watch it." And then she's like, "This is what you're sitting here doing for like 6 hours a day what, on a Saturday? Like you're watching dudes like this?" And I'm like, "No, no, no. Like this is like a very niche thing."
I totally get what you're saying now. Like
Yeah,
she doesn't understand like what Nate Diaz has done to earn like the
that
favorite.
level of what he was, the audacity of what he was doing in there.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like what the fuck? Yeah, no,
She was
I
like, "Where
totally
does
see
this
that.
fuck get off doing that?" And I'm like, "Well, he actually deserves it." And I'm like, kind of like how I would explain it to her. So like, if I wanted to show her like, this is what his brother did in Strike Force. Check this shit out. That's
Hmm.
sick. That'd be like, that's why he does it. These are what those dudes do.
Yeah.
If you had to like explain it to someone without like, that's what it was. That was his brother was so sick in Strike Force. He actually got the audacity, and I hope he gives his brother some money or whatever. Did you see his brother in the fucking in the ring with him and stuff, doing the fucking corner work and all that?
Yeah, yeah. I saw him and Caesar Gracie was there and everything too, and
Yeah,
kind of makes me wonder. Like, I don't know much about Caesar Gracie, like, and
yeah.
the Rat Pack in general, or the Scrap Pack, I should say.
Uh-huh.
But I was kind of like, I see that, and I think like, is Caesar Gracie really the guy you want to bring him into
Yeah,
into corner you in a boxing match? Like, I don't know, but I don't really know. Like, I hear Gracie in my mind automatically just assumes like, oh, he's just been his grappling coach forever. But I mean, he's been their MMA coach for a while, so
did it
whatever.
entertain you? A lot of people were like, "That was very entertaining." You know, it's like it wasn't at all for me. I didn't like it.
Hmm. I don't know if entertaining is the word I would use. It
Yeah,
was I was watching it. I was watching it, kind of figuring like this is delivering for people though. Like
that's
I
what
think
made me mad.
I think I recognize that like, yeah, this is
Yeah,
entertaining for the people who were waiting for this fight and anticipating it. And I
yeah,
think that like with Nate doing the Nate thing, which is just having his moment, whether it was even like a positive moment in terms of like winning a
yeah,
round, and
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
being just enough for people to be like, "Fuck yeah, that's what's up." Like,
yeah, yeah,
when
yeah,
he pretends he's going for the guillotine choke, like that was really all the Nate Diaz army needed to be like, "That's what's up, 209." Like, and it's like it
yeah.
was a pretty bad performance. And I
What
think
was so yeah,
ringside, Gilbert, when they went to him between rounds, and he's like, "I wish it could be a 20 round fight because that's when Nate will really shine." I'm not even
yeah.
confident he was going to win in a 20 round fight because he was like 2 3 weight classes up from where he should be fighting. Like, he's a natural 155 or fighting at 185. I don't know that the
Sure.
cardio is. I don't know that the Diaz brothers are still running triathlons, because everybody always
Yeah,
falls back to that as like, oh, they get ready for triathlons. They swim back and forth from Alcatraz and
dude.
stuff. It's like,
That's
when
yeah.
though? Like, when are they
You're
still
talking about
doing
like
that?
2007, dog. That's what
Yeah,
you're
they're
talking about. Like, yeah,
yeah. Nate Diaz is a millionaire now. I don't know if he's training
yeah,
for triathlons every week, but
yeah. And I think I had mentioned it was that they did like a little montage of him on the lead up to his fight against Tony, and like the video of him jogging was just off putting. Like, why is he? Why is he? Why is he running? And I get his like limbs and his like joints from the running and from MMA and BJJ and everything else must be just shot. So that's why
mhm.
he runs like that. But it just looked so weird, you know?
It's not the footage you use if you're really trying to sell him as a fighter. No, yeah.
Yeah, he looked
It
like the cholo kid that ran the mile in PE that was like wearing the fucking jean shorts and the high socks. Just yeah,
it,
like
it
running on
really
his heels.
it really did look like the running that you see someone do when they've already been running for a while, and
Yeah, it did. Yeah, that's
they're
right.
just like, I just
Yeah,
got to keep the heart rate up of just going through the motions. I'm not even trying to be
sure.
fast anymore. Which, I
Hmm.
mean, maybe they were trying to send a message like, we'll catch him at the end of his running. The words
Yeah,
like,
and
okay,
as
this is.
someone who likes to run, there's like a portion of your foot that you always kind of like takes the a huge amount of the pressure when you're running, like however you run, and usually if you're not like super into it, so like the outside of someone's foot or like the inside toe, like my inside toe is all messed up, so I'm like always running on the outside of my foot. So he probably like has like broken shit just everywhere, all over his body.
Mhm.
For like that's how I can get up to this heart rate. So like I have to move my body this way.
Yeah. So what is hard for me, I don't know about you,
Yeah.
about like talking about this fight, because is like a lot of the questions that float around, like a lot of people seem like really, really interested in whether Nate will go back to the UFC now. And I just don't understand why anybody would give a shit at this point. Like, I don't know what kind of juice there is left to squeeze. But
we mentioned it before on when he was going to fight Hamza, and like I remember, I'll never forget it. Like this casual ass dude was like in there trying to say, he's fighting some loser from Sweden. The Diaz brothers are from Stockton. They're sick as hell. And like this was like a grown man saying this. And I was watching him, and I was like, there's a lot of people like this guy.
I guess so, like, man. Yeah, I do remember you mentioning that guy now. And
he'll for sure. I mean, Bellator would sign him in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah. 100%.
So,
what do you think about?
Would sign him.
What do you think about the talk about? Because I mean, right after the fight, and I almost forgot about this, but Jake Paul was talking about running it back and fighting him in MMA, and he wants to do a cross
PFL or whatever, right?
co-promotion between PFL and Nate Diaz's Real Fight League or whatever. Which I don't know if they've ever even had a card, or if that was just an excuse for.
They've
Nate
had
to
a lot of
some...
like parties. Yeah, they've had a lot of like parties and shit though, like lead up parties and.
I bet. Do you think that Jake Paul for $10 million actually fights Nate in an MMA fight?
Yeah, he would.
I think it's so. Actually, that's the smartest like opponent to pick if you want to actually have a shot at winning in MMA also.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if the fight is on the ground, and Nate should be able to tie this dude up and choke him out, but Nate would have to get the fight there. And then Nate also, I think at this point, like wants to sell a fight and is more concerned about just putting on a performance. And he's like, I don't know. I picture Nate just standing with him still. I don't know.
Trying to grab like he did a guillotine, trying to grab a guillotine, or trying to grab a fucking armbar, maybe.
I suppose.
Yeah.
I just don't have enough faith that, and I think this is where the disconnect is, like with the type of guy you were mentioning that's like, oh, fucking Nate's from Stockton, he's about to fight some dude from Sweden. Like,
yeah, his brother's sick as hell too. So.
Yeah, I think for the people who kind of like sum up fights like that, I don't know that they realize like, or are looking at like how much training is Nate really doing for these fights? Like, because if Nate is still hungry somehow, and if you really tell me like, no, Nate is training like a demon, this still matters for him. Winning matters more than anything for Nate. I would still pick Nate comfortably in an MMA fight, for sure. Yeah. But I mean, looking at his performance in the boxing ring, I think I even put it in our group chat. Like, I think the amount of time that Nate trained for that fight could and should be measured in hours and not days or weeks or anything.
I doubt he did. I doubt he trained very hard. Maybe under 16 hours at the most. I mean, what was it? 3 months, 4 months?
Of build up.
And I bet. Yeah, and I bet the last 10 of that 16 was like the week of. Probably. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that. So yeah, for the PFL's sake, I hope that they do rematch in MMA in the PFL, because the PFL can sure as fuck use it, man.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that goes. Let's we got about 10 more minutes. Let's jump over to this weekend's card. I believe we have an all Brazilian main event between Rafael dos Anjos and Vicente Luque. I was already kind of, well, for one, okay, I'll be honest. I didn't know that this was going to be the main event of this card. I didn't know that this fight was booked until like a couple days ago. And I would be a lot more excited about it if I didn't learn that Vicente Luque recently had a really serious brain injury. He was bleeding from the brain.
And the guy that, he had the aneurysm, right? Was that what it was?
he had a brain hemorrhage
Hemorrhage.
apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this was just in his last fight. Granted,
Yeah.
this was last year already. It's been about a year to the date, and I mean, I guess brains heal, you know. So, but yeah, Jeff Neal, he got finished by Jeff Neal in his last fight, a third round TKO finish to punches.
With the Jax uppercuts, like the Jax from Mortal, if I remember correctly. He was giving him that Jax butt masher combo, dude.
Yeah, man. Jeff Neal really fucking put the hurt on him, and he's been on the shelf since then, ready to make a
Jeff Neal
comeback.
just got hurt, right? He's out.
He did.
He's out of his fight.
Yeah, I saw that. So yeah, Vicente Luque locks horns with Rafael dos Anjos this weekend, and I am 100% picking Rafael dos Anjos in this fight. I just think,
Yeah.
I don't know. I it's hard to with that kind of an injury. It makes me wonder how much time he wasn't training, just out of pure precaution. You know, you can't go.
Yeah.
You suffered a brain hemorrhage and you were bleeding from your fucking gray matter. Like, you can't just jump back into training and take punishment to the head. So that and RDA is always game. He's just a more well-rounded fighter. I think that RDA can beat him anywhere, honestly. Because fucking Vicente, good old Vince Luque, he probably hits harder, but RDA fucking, as a guy who's just always had that dog in him. He's always taken every fight. I think we've gone over his record and just listed off the names of fighters he's fought, and
we celebrate his whole discography on this podcast.
A real BMF, that RDA.
Yeah.
I haven't really given you much of an opportunity to break down this fight or ask you. But
I'm right on there with you. I think what I would say would make me sound dumb. So like, I don't want to sound, because I was thinking, like, is this like Vicente Luque's like send off, like make like remember that kid in San Francisco? They dressed him up like Batman and like let him run around for a while, like you know what I mean? Because he had that, like, dude, you're in there with RDA, dude. Like, here's your last paycheck, and you probably shouldn't be doing this again. I don't know how you're even getting sanctioned by the commission, but hey, run out there. And everyone's like, brain hemorrhage. I don't know who's on the mic this week or who's in the booth. They're probably gonna say it 18 or 19 fucking times.
Yeah, man.
Just to like preface it, and then it's gonna be like, there he is, so brave. And then Dos Anjos is gonna come out looking like fucking Brazilian highway patrolman and just beat the living shit out of him, dude.
See, that was a much better breakdown than I gave. Way fucking funnier. I don't know why you're concerned about sounding stupid. The Brazilian stupid. CHP, dude. That's
dude. Hell yeah, dude. He looks like well, I don't know how he's gonna come out, and I haven't seen any press conferences. Because like you, I did know it was coming out because I just remember seeing it on like the lead up on YouTube, because like YouTube's in my algorithm, so it's like it gives you like that preview, like starting Monday, Sunday night.
Yeah.
So like that's when I knew it, but I haven't watched I haven't watched any press conferences, or like I don't know if they've done any press or anything for it. So I'm just seeing him from like Happy Gilmore. Remember, he's like, "You go to sleep." He's gonna tell you, "All right, I'll put you to sleep." They're like Ben Stiller and Happy Gilmore.
It's kind of funny how we're like a little bit opposite in that regard. Like, cause I do watch, like, after an event, I'll just sit on my couch and it's like, oh, it's time to watch all the post fight interviews and scrums and stuff. But I can't bring myself to watch like the embeddeds and stuff. And not even
the embedded, that's weird, right?
And not even because it's like, oh, this is like UFC's official like promotion or material or anything like that, because they do a good job with that stuff. Of the ones I have watched,
they do very good,
really quality stuff. But for some reason, like I scroll right past it all the time. Yeah, I should definitely watch those.
I don't like to hear Dana. I don't like to hear Dana talk. Sometimes I know you do. And it's like raw data. What you're doing by doing that is you're processing raw data. You saw it with your own eyes, and then you're hearing it from their own mouths, like what they thought happened. That's as raw as data as can get. And that's an actual journalist type of mindset. where I'm doing like I sit down with my wine and I watch Justin Gaethje get a haircut, dude. You know what I mean? Like, ooh, I wonder what they're gonna do with his frames. Like, what kind of glass? Ooh,
Yeah.
was that a G wagon or what kind of car do they have? And it's
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, where you're just like, what did he say was wrong with him in the second round? Like, what was that? I noticed that. So like, you're using your fucking, you're taking in the raw data, and I get like the narrative driven shit.
That's a good point. Yeah. And that narrative driven stuff, like I said, is really, really, really good.
You, if we're gonna do something where we have to interpret, two brains are better than one, because I couldn't sit through the press conferences. You don't like the embedded, so we got to do it for each other. So I guess that helps, right?
Yeah. We're kind of made for each other in that regard, for sure.
Yeah.
And Ron Perlman needs to narrate all that shit, dude. Like, I wish Ron Perlman was like the MC of the press conferences, because he's awesome in those embeddeds. Brandon is frozen for me right now. Let's see. I'll give it some time for him to come back. There you are. Okay.
There you are. Yeah.
You're my internet's being shit here.
It's probably a sign, dude.
Yeah. No, it's a sign. There's more we could talk about. Your boy Khalil Roundtree is back in action.
My favorite. Yeah. I hope he kicks him. I hope he does some weird shit where Dawkins is on the ground. He's like getting kicked in the fucking liver from like the back, from like not even like a regular kick, like a heel, like a back heel, like the way you like kick your door closed when you have your fucking hands full of groceries. Like, I hope he fucking kicks him in the fucking bladder with some fucking shit, weird shit, dude.
Yeah, Khalil Roundtree is just the nicest guy, the nicest violence. Like, what was the name of the gentleman that he hit? What was it? Modestus Bukakis. With that fucking oblique kick that just destroyed his knee. And it's like, I'm so conflicted watching that, because I was like, that was really sick, Khalil, good job. But damn, dude, that guy, poor Modestus Bukakis, if it was Modestus, I think it was. I really am looking for something like that too. I think he's definitely going to shorten Chris Dawkins' carear, probably, hopefully in a way that doesn't involve like brain hemorrhaging or anything like that.
When Dawkins is like 58 and like it's his grandkids starting to like come to consciousness, like, why do you walk like that, Grampy? And he's just like, well,
let me tell you about a guy named Khalil. So that's one to watch at 205
why are you
pounds.
pissing out of a bag? Like, why is there a bag right there? He's gonna do some weird internal organs like punch or something, dude.
Moving down the card a little bit more, I shouldn't fail to mention Cub Swanson versus Hakeem Dawodu, featherweight. Solid fight. Admittedly,
everybody loves Cub Swanson.
Yeah, Cubs the man. So nice to see him still there in co-main event action. WMMA banger alert: Polyana Viana versus Yasmin Lucindo.
Oh, yes.
Great fight.
The ones that know have a little pin on this one. Had a little pin on this one, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Yasmin Lucindo at only 21, man, just fucking fireworks from beginning to end. That's one to watch. Don't miss that one. Let's see, going down the card a little bit.
The Cook JP buys, right? Isn't that didn't Roman Delizzi fucking snatch up JP buys?
Is she on this card?
No,
that was just a random JP. Oh, she is on. Oh, JP Buys is on this card. JP
Buys is on the card.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he was.
When
African.
you said, "Is she on this card?" I was like, "I hope not."
Yeah, that's right.
It'd be weird just watching Roman Delizzi in the like at the vending machine in the hallway, like outside, like what?
Oh man, Roman Delizzi just doing the Georgian commentary, just fucking always gazing over from the table.
JP Buys is the Adam 22 of the UFC. Just watching his wife get
the no jumper. Oh man, I only know him as no jumper, so I have to.
I should not be saying this about someone who can fucking pull my larynx out of my fucking neck, dude.
Terrence McKinney back in action already. I feel like that's a pretty quick turnaround.
Kid Boo. What do they call him? Kid Boo? Have you ever seen fucking Dragon Ball Z?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, he looks like Kid Boo. Remember when Majin Buu like he looks like that? He has that like weird arm kind of stance and blank face.
Are we talking about Terrence McKinney?
Yeah.
Kid. Okay, I'm gonna
Look
Google
Kid
Kid
Boo
because I know what Boo looks like, but I'm forgetting. what Kid Buu looks like.
Doesn't that kind of look like Triple Extension or whatever?
Does it look like Terrence McKinney is the question. I thought that's what you were saying.
No, both, because I think whenever I don't know why I get those guys like, oh, that looks like Triple Extentation.
Triple Extentation. XXX Tentacion. I will agree with. Okay, that always bothered me too. That it's actually pronounced XXX Tentacion too. Is this like what the fuck? Yeah. It's Triple Extentation. Like that's. I thought it was Triple Extentation for a little while too. It just flows off the tongue so much better. But yeah, all right, man. Hour and 2 minutes in. We didn't touch on that breaking news about the lawsuit, or the class action, or the lawsuit that is now a class action lawsuit for UFC fighters. And honestly, I haven't even read the entire article. I don't know enough about what it's about, but I do want to talk about that in the future, maybe on the next episode, because that's something that's really, really intriguing. And I did know that there was a big lawsuit like looming for the UFC that I didn't have a whole ton of faith was going to really like kind of like have any that was going to develop into anything meaningful. I kind of thought that the UFC probably has a team of high-powered lawyers that were going to squash it. But it sounds like that's actually moving along now, and now we know that I think it's at least like 1,200 fighters can now like collectively sue the UFC as long as they've been performing or fighting under the UFC banner between the dates of 2010 and 2017. So that is really interesting, and I think we'll do a little bit of a deep dive into that in the next episode once we understand a little bit more about what it's about.
Keep an eye on that fighter remove Twitter account.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
See some corresponding moves.
A lot of red X's coming up.
Yeah, a lot of red X's and fucking lowrider fucking icons. Yeah. That's all you're gonna see, dude. Just
it's gonna be a lot of names just randomly just missing from the Hall of Fame records, because there's that's gonna just be a lot of fighters.
Avatars on the website, just like fucking like create a fighter avatars.
Yeah, because that's going to include a lot of fighters who've already probably hung up the gloves that aren't even competing with the UFC anymore. So that's going to be really interesting to see, or how that gets chopped up, or really what I'm more curious about, or what are considered the unfair practices that they're talking about, because my fucking simpleton brain just goes straight to like, oh yeah, the UFC's making a lot of money and they're not paying it to the fighters. But I don't know if there's really much of a lawsuit or a case that you could build around that.
Who's the like poster boy for this lawsuit? Is it like Mighty Mouse? Is like Mighty Mouse going to be the guy that like represents all of them in court? Like he just like shows up, like pulls the microphone all the way down.
As much as I would root for Mighty Mouse, like that really just devolves into I'm suing you because I wasn't popular. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like it's Mark Hunt, right? Because Mark Hunt was going to war with the UFC. Like he took them to court because they gave Brock Lesnar the pass, or
even though he pissed hella hot.
Yeah, practically melted through the cup. That's what I'm more curious about. Like what are the infractions that they're saying that the UFC did? Like how were they acting unfairly towards the fighters? Because I know it isn't just going to break down simply towards collusion, they're just not paying them enough. Like, is it going to come down to like, oh, like what, are you not playing by your own rules? Do you have any kind of like real direction for a fighter to be like, okay, this is what I need to do to earn a title shot?
I think the NFL, in a very sneaky way, they file as sports entertainment, almost like WWE. And a lot of people say, like, why do they do that? But I think they do that for, like, collusion and antitrust reasons. So that they can say, like, oh, well, it's scripted. So, like, we have to, like, collude against people.
Yeah. And like, that might not matter so much in the context of the NFL, because, like, they can't just make it so that the team that they want to be in the Super Bowl goes there, Like, the cream still has to rise in that scenario. But it's never been the case with the UFC. I mean, the cream still does tend to rise in the UFC,
and it's on video every Saturday.
Yeah, but they can certainly, if they they can just decide like we don't ever want this person to get a title shot.
And there's like HIPAA. What if they're like HIPAA shit, like giving up dudes fucking medical records when they shouldn't, like putting medical records in the fucking, like releasing stuff that guys don't want them to know about, like all kinds of shit, dude.
Yeah. And my only understanding of this this phase of the lawsuit was that a lot of legal pundits have been saying for the last few years, for a while now, because they started this lawsuit in 2014, is or at least the talking heads that I've been paying attention to was saying like it'd be great if this thing developed any further, but it's probably not going to make it to the phase that it just entered. So a lot of people didn't really have faith that it would get this far. So now my interest is peaked. So I would really like to see where it's going to go.
What interests me is like the fact that Dana keeps these guys so hungry to where if it's like a class action type thing and like everybody kind of gets the same piece of the pie, can they like figure out what that dollar amount is and then go like, dude, you're only going to get like $270K at the most. Here's like 450 grand. Fuck off. Don't fucking say shit. Don't sign your name. Like, and that's not even a crazy amount of money. Like, no. Dana could just, that's like in a Jordan box in Dana's fucking side pieces fucking closet. You know what I mean? Just like, oh shit, 450K. There you go. Don't say a word.
Yeah, like when you really chop it up and reimburse the fighters who join in on that lawsuit, because it's not even going to be all of them. That's the thing I was joking about in our group chat. Like, I'm really looking forward to seeing, like, especially which fighters are going to be very vocal about supporting the UFC.
They're going to bring back.
UFC,
they're going to re-sign Sam Alvey. He's like, I was fine. I don't know. I really had a good time.
Yeah, dude. UFC always treated me right, man. Yeah, I got free tickets for my family whenever they came to town. It's like, okay, if you like fighting for peanuts.
They popped for the full-size rental when we were in Cleveland. Like, it was nice.
Yeah. I guess my closing thoughts about this is something that I mentioned in the chat. I'm surprised that there's a cutoff date, which is what really makes me curious as to, like, you know, what all of the infractions were, because like I said, my lizard brain just immediately went to fighter pay, but I don't think that that's really what it's all based on, because I mean, Ismail Bonfim, who fought this past weekend, or was it the weekend before last? Either way, he's fighting for 12-12. You know, and he's
I saw that. Yeah. Whoa!
And I saw that, and I was like, damn, there's really still 12-12 contracts in the UFC, and this guy is like,
time out, So, like a dude that's on a 12-12, or that maybe went on a streak of 12-12s, but like some real egregious shit happened to him. And then Dana just like Dana shows up to the IHOP he's working at now, and he's just like, "Here's an envelope. Shut the fuck up."
Yeah, man. No, and that
almost
story,
like some Better Call Saul shit, where like there's just gonna be a Mike Ehrmantraut dude show up, and then they're just like, "Fuck."
Legacy cost. I got guys. Exactly, dude. They may be locked up, but they're my guys. We pay them to stay quiet.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's hilarious. Oh, fucking Dana Ehrmantraut. Ready to see it. Ready to see it devolve. All right, man. Cool. Well, unless there's any other fucking current MMA news that you wanted to touch on, ready to wrap this one up, my guy.
No, nothing that like won't. I'm real excited for the Aljo cards. That's cool.
That's a fucking great card, man. That is I'm not gonna go into it, but man, that card is a fucking WMMA delight, dude. It's so fucking. There's 3 banger fucking fights on that card that I'm hoping Mike comes back around and still continues to do the WMMA show with me, because that's one we'll definitely be covering. So I'm gonna force him to. If he doesn't, I'm gonna force you to. We're gonna do our own, our own WMMA edition. Dude. Hell yeah. That'll
Absolutely,
be a good one,
bro. I'll bust out the Gina Carano poster and put it up right here.
Oh, the Marlos Kunin fucking poster. Yeah. All right, guys.
Damn. All right, yeah.
we didn't say it at the beginning of the show like we were like we did last time, and we were trying to remember to continue to do that. But thank you if you're still listening. Appreciate you for being here.
Thank you guys.
If you like this episode, hit that like button. If you don't want to miss our next episode, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you get notifications, letting you know whenever we upload a new episode, and we will see you on the next episode of The Fight Club. Okay, bye.